Well, hello everyone. I hope you are having a beautiful morning, afternoon, evening, wherever in the world that you are. My name is Kimberly O'Connor. I'm a certified consulting hypnotist, and today is Wednesday. On Wednesdays, we take a topic and discuss how it relates to hypnosis. Today's topic is particularly exciting and relevant and important in my humble opinion. We are going to discuss waking hypnosis and how it affects us. It looks like I am wearing no shirt at all. It feels like springtime today in Toronto, so I am indeed wearing a shirt under this cardigan, but it is very, very low cut. 'Tis the season. So anyway, I digress. Before we move into this topic and this conversation, which I hope you find fascinating and informative, there are a few things I'd like to discuss. First and foremost, if you have questions about hypnosis and how it can powerfully serve you, please take a look at my website, consultinghypnosis.ca, where you'll find information and rates and testimonials, and you can book a complimentary, no obligation one-on-one consultation there. If you would like to communicate with me via email, my email address, kimberly@consultinghypnosis.ca, you can reach out to me there. I love when you do. And a humongous thank you to my Patreon supporters. It is too delightful, and I feel so honored and grateful when I receive a new Patreon subscriber. I don't know what you would be called. I guess you're a Patreon subscriber. A very generous beneficiary is how I think of you. I have a Patreon account now, patreon.com/consultinghypnosis. If you feel like financially supporting me and this channel, please know that it means the world to me. I really appreciate it, and I'm so grateful. And yes, so a few points of business on this channel. On Mondays, we do the Monday Mini Hypno Club, which is a short, linear, powerful hypnosis session designed to get our week started with a bang. On Tuesdays is the Global Mastermind Alliance of Professional Hypnotists. Now, we have closed membership. We voted last night. We will not be accepting any more expert professionals for the time being. However, if you are a professional hypnotist and you have a niche or a particular passion or angle, please reach out to me via email, and you could be a guest speaker for us. We would love that, and then we can meet you and share with you, and that would be delightful. On Wednesdays, we do this, the Hypno Convo. On Saturdays, we have the ASMR hypnosis session where I couple the pleasure of ASMR with the power of hypnosis. Now, you'll notice I didn't mention Friday's Affirmation Meditation. I'm deciding to snip the Affirmation Meditation because I don't want to be a jack of all trades. I wanted to offer sessions that could be listened to while you're driving or doing whatever you're doing throughout the day. But the bottom line is there are so many beautiful meditations on YouTube already. I am a hypnotist. That is what I do. That is what I think I do very well. So I'm not going to try to dip into the meditation pool. I find myself rather at a loss with it. So no longer will I be doing the Friday Affirmation Meditation. It is what it is. Okay, let's move into the conversation. I have many notes. I have much that I want to say and discuss because this is particularly important, in my opinion. What is waking hypnosis? Well, Dave Ellman, I'm paraphrasing his definition, but he says that waking hypnosis is hypnotic effect without formal trance induction, essentially. And I would agree with that definition. You are often bypassing the critical faculties, which is what happens during trance sessions, and imparting suggestion, again, without an induction. So you're bypassing the critical faculties, you're giving a suggestion, and so the unconscious mind is absorbing it, but you are in a waking state. Now, waking hypnosis is very, very, very common. That is going to be the number one point that I really want to drive home through this video. But waking hypnosis is often used during medical procedures, hypnodontics, so dentistry and hypnosis. And that's where you'll find it used explicitly and intentionally, but it is explicitly or implicitly and intentionally used all the time. So I want to be clear that waking hypnotic suggestions can be given in all sorts of forms. They can be direct, they can be indirect, they can be nonverbal, they can be given really through all of our senses. And it is really important that we start to be aware of the suggestions that are given to us during waking trance, waking hypnosis. So in my consultations, I talk about 3 golden roads to trance. Hypnosis, the theta state. All of these terms, trance, hypnosis, the theta state, are synonyms for the state where the unconscious mind is receptive and absorbent to new truth. The first golden road to trance, hypnosis, the theta state, where the unconscious mind is absorbent to new truth, is by virtue of being a human being, you have been in trance thousands and thousands of times. We go into states of trance, typically light states, but they can be quite deep, all the time. Just by virtue of being alive, you go through trance states all the time. You probably already have been in a trance many times today. You might be in one now. Any time that you do not have to use your critical or conscious faculties to learn something new or sort something out, you are probably in a trance state. Anytime you daydream or think about the past or think about the present, if you are laughing, you are in a trance state. It is inherently human and a really powerful and positive state to be in. It's where we do a lot of our sorting out the world around us, a lot of our learning, a lot of our sense of self is derived from these states of trance that we move into often seamlessly. But we are virtually bombarded by suggestions. And so it is really important to start becoming aware of our surroundings, start to become aware of what we are subjecting ourselves to as we naturally slip in and out of trance states. I'm going to say this more than once, but what music are you listening to? What movies are you watching? What podcasts are you listening to? What people are around you? What are you telling yourself on a day-to-day basis? And I know that this is a conversation that is really quite broad and incorporated into many schools of thought and communities and cultures, this idea of self-talk and your thoughts becoming things and manifestation and what have you. But this is really important in terms of the specific filter of hypnosis. You are going into trance all the time, slipping in and out all the time. They say that an average day, if you are not learning something new, you can be in hypnosis 90% of that day. During consultation, or I was going to say conversations, but it's interesting. I want to make a point that during consultations with my clients, something that I hear all the time, feedback that I get all the time, is that at the end of the conversation, which is typically about an hour and a half long, people say, I feel better already. I notice that I feel empowered already around the areas that we were talking about that I've historically struggled with. And that is never a surprise to me, because during the hour to an hour and a half conversation together, even before the turbocharged impact of hypnosis, a formal induction leading to hypnosis, my client and I are moving through hypnotic states even during that consultation. So already they are absorbing the powerful positive suggestion and truth that we are creating together. Already, we have been creating a mantra and a trigger that will serve them and then discussing that mantra and trigger, and they are absorbing that truth by virtue of slipping into light or medium states of hypnosis while we're speaking. You will probably move into a state of trance during this video. What are you surrounding yourself with? What are the suggestions that you are allowing into the precious domain of your existence? It is important to even just at a cursory level, at a superficial level, look, are there any glaring negative suggestions that are being given to you while you're moving into these trance states on a day-to-day basis? So anyway, I digress. I want to talk about a few schools of thought around waking hypnosis. So generally, in a nutshell, You're moving into a state of trance all the time. When you are in a state of trance, your unconscious mind is absorbing truth. That truth is important. Your unconscious mind is brilliant and benevolent and designed for your survival, but it does not hold nuance. It takes things literally. So if you are receiving a suggestion with enough power, there can be an impact and a limiting belief that is formed, or a serving belief that is formed from that absorption. So pay attention to who you are with, what you are doing, how you are doing it. That may seem like a huge task, an overwhelming task, but just through watching this video and slipping into light states of trance intermittently while I'm speaking to you, you will hold more awareness that will serve you. You will be listening to a song thinking, wait a tick, I don't want to absorb poverty and heartbreak and division and upset. That just doesn't serve me right now. I'm going to turn to another song, a song that uplifts me and makes me feel courageous and powerful and connected and full of love. Things like that. You'll notice things like that, I promise you, after this video. So, a few schools of thought. Emile Coué, who I speak of all the time, probably never have pronounced his name correctly once. He is the father of affirmation. Affirmations are a form of waking hypnosis that are very powerful. Coué's most popular affirmation, every day in every way, I am getting better and better. Or there are some variations to that. Every day in every way, I am better and better. Repeating mantras and affirmations to yourself throughout the day is a form of waking trance that is so serving and powerful. You can't see this, but I have affirmations all around me right now. I've just a few. I am enough, I have enough, I do enough. I like to say this to myself. I like to see it. I like to be surrounded by it. My mind is at peace. I have that as an affirmation right here because I like to really speak to the experience of my inner climate through affirmation. I move forward in life with ease and joy. I embrace my creative self. All of these are right around me. I love and approve of myself exactly as I am. That is an important affirmation for me to really heal and address historic wounds that lead to historic insecurity and limiting belief. As I move forward in my life, in my career, in my building of how powerfully I can share hypnosis, I really need to heal the wounds of insecurity and impeded self-expression and fears that hold me back. I don't have time for those anymore. I have a mission, I have a purpose through hypnosis. So I keep these affirmations all around me and I repeat them constantly. I see them constantly. So that is affirmation, the first form of waking hypnosis I wanted to address. Use affirmations as simple as all is well. Oh, in fact, I love the affirmation, all is well. Say it to yourself. Speak it lovingly as though you would speak it to a child who is afraid. Speak it to your inner child. All is well. All is well. Write it down. Write it on your... I used to, and in fact, there's so much to say about waking hypnosis. There will probably be too much because my camera decides to kick the bucket after approximately 25 minutes. But I used to work in a high-stress job as a server. I loved the job, but the stress was really quite intense, particularly during our high volume times. And I used to write the initials of 3 ways of being that I wanted. So it could be peaceful, present, joyful. So I would write PPJ right here on my wrist. And I would look at it and I would feel peaceful, present, joy as a reminder and then as a state through the various states of trance that I was moving through. So affirmation can live in all sorts of ways. Milton Erickson used to use waking hypnosis through stories. And we now live that hypnotic technique through primarily conversation. But they can also be commercials, podcasts, movies. Our minds are always trying to sort things out, figure things out, answer questions. And so through analogy and parable and story and advertising, we are always trying to understand. And so we will derive suggestion and truth through stories. Milton Erickson was a master of this. He would never use, well, he would often use formal inductions, but there are times he wouldn't even use a formal induction at all. He would simply speak to someone and tell a story. And there would be a kernel of wisdom within the story that the client's mind would be working out, chewing on, working on, and then it would get it, and it would see it, and it would then hold it as the suggestion through waking hypnosis and story. We do this with conversation, trying to read between the lines, trying to suss people out, sort out the meaning, sort out the motivation. Stories are a powerful and potent form of waking trance, waking hypnosis, and advertisers use this all the time. We think we know where something's going, and then they throw in a curveball, and our minds go, whoa! And that is a suggestion, a truth, a meaning that we make that we can hold. Stories. Authority. So, Dr. Bernie Siegel talked about prestige suggestions. And he was talking about this in terms of doctors and the weight that their suggestions hold. But basically, the arcing theme that Dr. Bernie Siegel would discuss was that authority is hypnotic. And we need to remember this. So, when you are an authority, you are hypnotic, was basically what Dr. Siegel was discussing. And so we get hypnotized, and we do, by authority. A police officer saying do or do not do something is more powerful typically than our partner saying do or do not do something. A doctor saying do or do not do something is more potent than our uncle saying do or do not do something. Now, there are exceptions all the time. We have variant beliefs that we have formed through waking hypnosis and conscious decision about authority, but we can often have a response and a waking trance based on what someone who seems to be an authority is telling us. And sometimes we want to comb through those assumptions. If we are in a state of assumptiveness, we often want to look at that, even just briefly. Who is telling me this? And by virtue of who is telling me this, am I taking it as fact when I normally would cross-check, cross-reference? Should I still cross-reference even though this is coming from authority? Authority suggestion creates a waking trance. Image trance. So I am hearing this story secondhand. I don't know about this person, but there's something called the Harding effect, and some of you may know about this. Warren Harding was the president of the United States of America for a very brief period of time, and apparently he was wholly underqualified, but he was tall and handsome and had a deep, smooth, silky voice. And people loved him. They loved the look of him. His image was hypnotic. And so, by virtue of how he held himself, his posture, his voice, his presentation, hypnotized people into believing things about his capability and thus his authority. So these two, the Warren Harding, the Harding effect, and the Dr. Siegel's authority suggestion, and the fact that authority is hypnotic, they work together. I caution you to look further. If something looks so good that you are influenced by it, if something presents itself so well that you are influenced by it, just give yourself a few more moments to cross-check, cross-reference, and really dissect a little further, because image and authority are hypnotic. And in our waking states, we are constantly being hypnotized and moving into suggestive states because of image and authority. I hope that makes sense. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about believability. He wrote the book, You Are the Placebo. Again, these three components coupled with affirmation and story, all of these work together. It's a network. They don't They can stand on their own as hypnotic devices, but they also are most potent when they're woven together. But I'm going to use the example of myself. I know that it is a leap of faith for people to reach out and share themselves with me, be intimate with me, and trust that I can help them with hypnosis. And so I need to practice what I preach. I hypnotize myself daily. It is very important that I am a representation of self-expression when I'm hypnotizing for self-expression. It's important that I am not overindulging in food and drugs and booze and behavioral addictions. That is important because I am a product of my product. I am an expression of my expression. I am a living example of hypnosis as I share and hope to serve through the living example of hypnosis. So believability. If you came to a hypnotist and they were smoking and you were hoping to experience smoking cessation, you may not feel as influenced by that hypnotist just by virtue of how our brains work, how our unconscious mind works, how our superconscious works. So believability, we are constantly gauging and looking for the ability to trust or not trust, to engage or not engage, to invest or not invest, to move forward or to stop. And so I hope that didn't sound pretentious when I was talking about the example of hypnosis, but hypnosis has been the best and most potent gift in my life that I can point to. And so I live that, and I hope to share that with as many people worldwide as humanly possible. And the believability is important. I need to practice what I preach. I need to use trance in my life. And I do. So that is believability, which again would go into image, authority, believability. They would really live together often. I want to expand upon the analogy of a doctor in terms of waking hypnosis and the suggestibility that would translate into. So a doctor comes into the room. They are giving you positive affirmation about how to change your life. Things are looking good if you just stop with the greasy, fatty foods. They tell a story about why patients' trajectories they've seen before. I had a guy, he used to eat this, now he eats this. I'm using the most boring, sterile version in the entire world, but I'm just trying to really encapsulate. I had a guy, he did this, and then he did this, and now he's great. The authority of him wearing a white lab coat and having all of his plaques up on the wall, or hers. You know, it's interesting. What a strange inherent bias I had that I said he first. Her too, but I'm gonna stick with the he because I've already started. He is tall and good looking and seems kind and personable. And he has a photo of his family on his desk and they're all looking shiny and happy too. That would couple with the authority to have you like him even more. And then he seems healthy. The believability is there. So he would be a prime example of how, by virtue of us slipping into trance states all the time naturally as human beings do, he would hold so many hypnotic influencing mechanisms as that doctor. Okay? So be aware of how factors can subtly, overtly, explicitly, implicitly influence and hypnotize us in our waking state. And it also is powerful to look at your ability to induce waking hypnosis, knowing that we're all moving through the state of trance all the time. Again, up to 90% of a given day, if we're not learning something new, which often we're not learning something new necessarily. We have a lot of ritual and routine and habits. You want to look at the way that your speaking, your affirmation through your communication, your charisma, your energy, your magnetic quality, your charisma, sorry, I already said charisma 3 times now. So your affirmation, your charisma, your authority, your image, your believability, all of these things can really influence your ability to make an impact, can serve your success and power and influence. Again, God, I don't know how to say this, and I don't mean to sound nefarious or strange about this. These are potent, powerful tools. Look at the way that you hypnotize. What are you creating through your affirmation, charisma, authority, image, believability? Just look at that. It's worth looking at. It's worth exploring. But what's even more important to explore is, what are your waking hypnosis factors? Again, what music are you listening to? What people are you surrounding yourself with? Who are your idols? Who are the people that embody all of the authority and image and believability for you? And thereby, you are more vulnerable to their suggestions and their truths. What is your environment looking like, feeling like? What are you saying to yourself? Look at these things. You are creating your life through these elements. And when people talk about manifestation and manifestation and the power of thought, I believe that the power is intrinsically linked, if not completely derived from hypnotic influence and how it influences your internal climate and how that internal climate influences your actions, all right? Which your actions would then influence your outcomes. Anyway, I digress. I've also said I digress 18,000 times. I don't know. I feel a little clunky, punky, bunky in this video, but I hope that it's making sense. So there's a micro and a macro waking hypnosis to look at. Again, the micro would be you. Your universe, which is actually limitless and infinite. But again, your music, your people, your environment, your self-talk, your authorities. But then the mass waking hypnosis is a whole other kettle of fish. And I invite you to look at, dissect, critique the ways that culture hypnotizes us, countries hypnotize us, economies hypnotize us, religion hypnotizes us, media hypnotizes us, the placebo effect of being alive, how does it hypnotize us? And none of this is bad. We need truth. We thrive on the beliefs that are formed that give us a framework of our reality, but it's worth just every once in a while taking a harder look, because we are being hypnotized, and we are being hypnotized all the time. Hypnotic states are, I would go so far as to say, the rule, not the exception. So take a look. I hope that this was interesting. Basically, I invite you through this conversation to take care of your brilliant, limitless, benevolent, super consciousness. It creates your reality, and your reality is precious and important, and I hope you have a beautiful experience of being a human being on planet Earth. Take care of your states, question your states, and examine, are your beliefs yours? I think that's all I have to say for now. My name is Kimberly O'Connor. My website is consultinghypnosis.ca. It is an honor and a privilege to discuss with you, speak with you, share with you. Thank you for being here, and I will see you on Saturday for the ASMR hypnosis session. Bye.